Hearing of Senate Environment, Energy, and Technology Committee is now called to order. Today, we will hear Senate Bill 9001 relating to repealing restrictions and fees on plastic carryout bags. Will staff please come up to summarize the bill and respond to questions?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. For the record, my name is Tony Newton, Committee Counsel. As it stands, Senate Bill 9001 relates to repealing restrictions and fees on plastic carryout bags. Current law prohibits any retail establishment from providing single-use plastic carryout bags to customers, while also charging a fee of 12 cents for compliant, reusable, and recycled content paper bags. Furthermore, the law establishes that there will be a minimum recyclable content and thickness requirement of 2.25 mils for permissible plastic bags. Senate Bill 9001 would repeal the aforementioned restrictions and restore the 8-cent bag fee requirement for retailers. This bill removes the prohibition on single-use plastic carryout bags and related recyclable content and thickness standards. If enacted, the bill would return the regulation of carryout bags back to general retail practice unless otherwise stipulated by local ordinance.
Thank you, committee staff. Are there any questions? Ranking member.
Yeah, so I have 3 questions for the record. Can staff confirm that after implementation of the thicker bag requirement, total plastic use by weight increased rather than decreased?
Yes, in a study done by WSU, the study drew on surveys from retailers, recyclable officials, industry data, and scanner data. The number of plastic bags distributed has fallen by an estimated 50%, as reported in the study.
And for my second question, is there evidence in the WSU study that reuse behavior meaningfully changed over time?
The total plastic use by weight has increased by an estimated 17%, according to the study from 2021 to 2022.
And then my last question, looking at the WSU research findings, did they conclude with any recommendations?
Yes, the WSU report recommends removing the thickness requirement for carryout bags and allowing retailers to provide single-use 0.5 mil plastic bags for with a pass-through fee. The recommendation is made because the amount of plastic per unit weight has increased since the single-use plastic bag ban took place.
Thank you. No further questions.
Yes, Senator Tanner.
Isn't it also true that the cited study was found to be based on insufficient data by the Department of Ecology and Commerce that ordered it?
I could confirm with you later and get back to you with that.
Okay, because I'm reading in their own cover sheet on it that this was only based on one distributor and data from just 2021 to 2022, and that most other bag distributors failed to report their own data to Ecology and Commerce, and their own recommendations differed from those of WSU. So
I believe that the distributors wanted to remain anonymous during that survey.
Okay,
so they were not listed.
Yeah, I just wanted some clarification that I feel like this might be based on insufficient data.
Any other questions? The chair recognizes Senator Mandiavelli.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Washington State University study by Jessica Wagner that this bill is based on was not considered comprehensive as it lacked clarity of data sources. It incorrectly aggregated data and it included data from the state of Oregon, which operates under a different RCW that the state of Washington does. Furthermore, the retail scanner data that they collected was supposed to collect data based on the reusable plastic bags that consumers used. However, it did not, as it stated in the actual report. Were you able to find any other comprehensive studies that corroborated and agreed with the decision that this study made?
Oh, was that by the WSU study?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did find the Washington Department of Ecology also published their own separate study reporting on the same topics discussed in the WSU studies.
And did it state that decreasing the thickness of plastic bags also decreases the waste, or that there has been a 17% increase in plastic waste in landfills?
I can confirm with you and talk to you about that later.
Thank you.
Thank you, committee staff. At this time, will the prime sponsor, Senator Brune, please come up to testify?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Ranking Member Skopinick, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Rowan Bruni, and I'm here representing the 27th Legislative District. Today is Friday the 13th, a day known for spooky surprises. In our case, the surprise is the unintended environmental harm from Washington's current plastic bag policy. WSU's evaluation found that while the total number of plastic bags distributed decreased by 50%, total plastic use by weight increased by 17% due to the shift to thicker bags. If our goal is reducing environmental impact, increasing total plastic tonnage is not success, it's a design flaw. This bill is not about expanding plastic use. It maintains the ban structure and the price signal and simply refines the material standard that unintentionally increased plastic throughput. That is reasonable policy adjustment, not a rollback. We should also consider substitution effects. California research found that eliminating carryout bags led to a 12 million pound increase in trash bag purchases because 12 to 22% of plastic carryout bags were previously reused as trash liners. Shifting consumers toward heavier alternatives can erase environmental gains. Paper alternatives are also not automatically better. Peer-reviewed life cycle research shows paper bags can have higher environmental impacts due to greater material inputs, energy use, water consumption, and are less effective. Thicker plastic bags are heavier than necessary, while paper bags use more raw resources. Reusable bags are part of the solution, but real-world behavior matters. Survey data shows 40% of grocery trips, consumers forget their reusable bags. Non-woven polypropylene bags are reused 14.6 times on average, and low-density polyethylene bags average just 3.1 uses. Life cycle analyses indicate many reusable bags may be reused dozens or hundreds of times to outperform single-use plastic. A standard 4 ml plastic bag, for reference, needs 5 to 10 uses to repay its environmental impact, which aligns with this data. If reuse rates are lower, the environmental math does not hold. We must also consider equity. Bag fees function as flat consumption charges, meaning even small increases disproportionately impact low-income households, particularly families who shop frequently and are less likely to use reusable bags. Environmental policy should avoid regressive burdens. Environmental stewardship requires honest evaluation of outcomes. Washington's data show a 70% increase in plastic by weight under the current law. Refining the thickness requirement aligns policy with measurable environmental results. And looking ahead, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. By passing this bill, we're sending a message of love for the environment. Smarter policy, less waste, and fairer outcomes for everyone. This is not about symbolism. It is about reducing total material throughput, reflecting real-world behavior, and designing policy that works in practice. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for your support.
Thank you, prime sponsor Senator Brune. Are there any questions for the prime sponsor? Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator, you stated that this is a policy adjustment, not a rollback, but this bill is based off of a law that was just passed only 2 years ago. So what is the motivation to go back on legislation so quickly? Are you worried about positive effects coming to fruition in even 5 years from now?
I believe, as demonstrated with the reduction of total bags used, despite weight increase, that behavior is already beginning to shift because of a tax. However, because the bags are required to be of a certain thickness, it's not actually helping the environment. Instead, it's hurting the environment. So if we reduce the thickness requirement, yet maintain a reasonable tax that doesn't have disproportionate economic impacts, I believe we strike the best balance of helping the environment while maintaining consumer choice.
Are there any other questions for the prime sponsor? Yeah, Senator Cole.
I would just like to say, so that WSU study did mention that since the bill's been passed, there has been more plastic waste put out there, correct?
That is correct.
So by passing our bill, we would want to reduce the amount of plastic. Therefore, we're not going back on bills. We're trying to make it a better future, correct?
Exactly. This still maintains the 40% recycled content mandation. It simply eliminates the need to use more plastic in bags that have been demonstrated to not be reused. If these bags were reused by consumers, maybe we're having a different discussion. However, we're accurately reflecting consumer behavior.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Are there any other questions? Senator Mandiavelli?
Thank you, Madam Chair. When you were considering the environmental impacts of plastic bags versus paper bags, did you consider the end of use after post-consumer recyclability of paper bags and plastic bags, as paper fibers are much more easier to go back into industry than plastic bags are?
That being true, paper bags are not shown to actually be recycled. A lot of them degrade through water, they rip. Oftentimes, that's why I brought two, because they're so flimsy. You have to use two bags for the same exact type of input. That is very true. I think there are solutions, and paper bags are still are not burdened to the same tax. We are trying to reduce plastic use. However, we need to accurately assess all inputs, I guess.
Are there any other questions for Senator Brune? Senator Hill?
Hi, thank you for testifying today. So this bill, my understanding is we're not getting rid of the option to have these reusable plastic bags. We're just trying to give consumers the choice, correct?
That is absolutely accurate. We're allowing businesses to choose whichever bags they would like to distribute, and these formula bags will be required. They're just not mandated as the only option.
Thank you. Are there any other questions at this time? Senator Tanner?
Well, hello again, Senator. I just would like to add on. I thank you, by the way. I appreciate you coming in with the different kinds of bags to demonstrate their properties for us. Isn't it true that the flimsiness of paper bags is actually kind of their strength ecologically? Because you mentioned they decompose. Plant fiber, paper fiber is plant fiber. Those can just decompose back into nature, as opposed to plastic bags that are made out of petrochemicals that don't fully decompose for hundreds of years. And multiple studies have shown that they leave behind microplastics that are harmful to living organisms. Wouldn't it if anything, make more sense to encourage the production of paper bags?
I disagree with that assessment. If you look at a year's worth of consumption, if a family's going to the grocery store consistently, double bagging things, using between 8 and 12 bags on average, I think that adds up over a life cycle. And paper bags additionally are, we're trying to protect our forests here in Washington State. They're a great resource. And I don't think that would be, I do agree that plastic bags aren't ideal. I think it's just mitigating a necessary evil. I do think balance is important though. So I appreciate your perspective.
Thank you, Senator Brune, for your testimony. At this time, we will be moving on to public testimony. Each testifier will get 2 minutes to give their testimony. Vice Chair Kelly will now call up testifiers.
We'd like to first call up Sunny Kulkarni, who is representing Retail Affordability Coalition in favor of the bill. Would you please come up and testify?
Good afternoon, Senators. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. For the record, my name is Sunny Kulkarni, and I'm here on behalf of the Retail Affordability Coalition. What I want to focus on today is everyday people and their very real everyday experiences. We have a major issue with the 12-cent charge for plastic bags that got put into effect about a month ago, and support how this bill would bring this back down to the original 8-cent charge. We should not be making life more difficult for the average shopper. For most people, getting groceries or shopping is often a chore. It's another task on people's already very full plates. Shoppers that I speak to on a day-to-day basis don't like having to pay extra for their bags. The 8-cent fee is already more than enough of a deterrence for them, and the 8-cent fee works. Plastic bag usage is already down 50%. The thought of having to pay a fee at all already makes people want to come up with a different alternative. Keeping the fee at 12 cents and not bringing it back down to 8 cents is just adding more costs to consumers in a time where groceries already feel so unaffordable. People try their best to remember to bring their reusable bags, but it's one more thing that people are forced to think about. Going to get groceries is not always a pre-planned activity, and it shouldn't have to be. When people forget to bring reusable bags, they have to buy the plastic ones if they're buying enough items. That's already decided when they walk in the store. Having a 12-cent fee instead of an 8-cent one doesn't make it so they can all of a sudden carry 20 groceries. They're just getting further punished for forgetting. A fee of 8 cents is more than enough. Raising the fee to 12 cents has set a really bad precedent, making it seem that our government is comfortable passing more and more costs down to consumers and making life harder and less affordable. We can fix this by going back down to 8 cents. Charging people for being forgetful or busy is unnecessarily cruel. Additionally, requiring retailers to provide more expensive or thicker bags makes things more expensive for everyone. Industry data from the Northwest Grocery Retail Association indicates that retailers spend on average $37,000 per store annually providing compliant bags, but only recoup about $9,000. Stores will make up for these costs by raising their product prices. Then we're paying more for groceries, and we're also paying more to carry those groceries. We don't need more expensive bags, and we don't need higher fees. We need to do what can make life easier for people and more affordable. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
The chair will now recognize Senator Mandiavelli.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So you said that grocery stores don't recoup the amount of money that they spend on plastic bags. Would the goal and solution of that to be just to not provide them at all, if it's just for shopper convenience?
So right now we're talking about convenience. So I'm mostly just focusing on the fact that with grocery stores providing these more expensive bags, these costs are already being seen. Like these stores are already having to pay more and the data is already out that they're not making that money back with these fees. So the concern is already current in the current model. And if we were talking about a model where we don't have plastic bags at all, that's not really a model that we're experiencing yet. That's not a place that we've gotten to.
The chair now recognizes Senator Cole.
The study you mentioned saying $37,000 per year per store, that was taken like 3 or 4 years ago, correct?
Yeah.
So that was before thicker bag requirements have come into place. Is it safe to assume that gap will expand with bigger bags being required for stores?
Yeah, it's definitely safe to think that way, especially with the requirements getting more strict. That gap is just going to get larger, and grocery stores, they aren't charity organizations. Like they're going to want to pass those costs down. They're not going to want to pay for them.
That answers my question. So you think they'd pass it down on the consumers? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sunny.
Next, we will call up Matthias Nordstrom with a concerned citizen group who will testify for the bill. Matthias, will you please come up and testify? Please state your name and who you represent for the record.
I'm Matthias Nordstrom. I am representing true Washingtonians. Truth is, I am the everyday person who this impacts, who often feels ignored by these policies. The 12 cents over 32 weeks in a year, imagine that. I go grocery shopping every week, all right? That adds up. I don't make that much money. In Washington, money's tight, all right? Excuse me. Not only this, but if we do care about the environment, which as a true Washingtonian, I do, all right? Go trees and mountains or whatever. As many people have pointed out, 17% increase in waste, that's like at least 40 turtles dead, all right? At least 40. So while this 12 cent is a lot, even going down to 8 cents, still way too much, all right? As I said, too much money, all right? This bill is a step in the correct direction. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Thank you, Matthias Nordstrom, for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we will call up Haley Bronick with she is the Madam President of the Citizens Against a Decorative Highway, lobbying against the bill. Haley, will you please come up and testify? Please state your name and who you represent for the record.
Hi, I'm Haley. Thank you so much, Chair and members of the committee, for this opportunity to speak today. I'm here in opposition to Senate Bill 9001 because apparently learning from experience, I guess, was optional for you guys. This bill tells us that because people didn't reuse reusable bags enough, the solution is to bring back thinner plastic bags. That's like saying seatbelts didn't eliminate car accidents, so let's uninstall the airbags. If behavior didn't change perfectly the first time, maybe the answer isn't surrender, it's better policy. Yes, study shows plastic bags used by count went up. Oh, sorry. Plastic bag used by count went down, while plastic by weight went up. But instead of fixing the real issues, consumer habits, strong reuse incentives, or eliminating unnecessary packaging altogether. This bill waves the white flag and says, you know what? Let's make it easier to throw things away again. And while we're here, let's talk about the bag tax. We were told the fee would encourage behavior change. In practice, it became a steady little revenue stream, less about environmental reform and more about retail side hustle. Customers still pay, stores still profit, plastic still circulates. The only thing disappearing is clarity. If the goal is waste reduction, then let's stop pretending halfway measures and bold leadership. Bringing back thinner plastic bags while keeping the fees and recycled content rules isn't reform, it's confusion with a price tag. And let's be honest, thinner plastic bags don't biodegrade into fairy dust. They tear, they drift, and they end up decorating our highways like a sad little tumbleweed of regret. Rivers don't care about legislative fine print, and wildlife doesn't read fiscal notes. Washington is set out to lead in waste reduction. Senate Bill 9001 doesn't move us forward. It puts us in reverse and hits the gas. If we truly believe plastic waste is a problem, then let's be honest about it. Not thinner bags, not task tug of war, just fewer bags, period. So on behalf of the rivers, the roadside ditches, and every reusable bag currently living in the trunk of cars waiting for redemption, I urge you to oppose Senate Bill 9001. Thank you.
Thank you, Haley. Are there any questions at this time? The chair recognizes Senator Cole.
I like the car analogy, so we'll play with it. If a seatbelt law unintentionally increased vehicle fatalities, and we had research that showed that that is the case, would it not be on us as a legislative body to fix that?
We're here for plastic bags.
I agree. I just like the car analogy. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yes, Senator Godolphin.
You spoke of the environment. Would you happen to know the environmental damage or impact of said plastic bags?
This is a really touchy subject for me. But Natural Geographic had a research come out that it killed 1 to 5 squirrels every day because of plastic bags in a ditch.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Senator Hill?
Okay, to follow up on Senator Cole's question, I know we're not talking about cars, so I'll take it back to plastic bags. So our one-time use plastic bags are only 0.5 milliliters. However, that was the wrong word. Anyway, the reusable ones are 4 to 7 times heavier than the one-time use bags. So if we've only reduced the use by 50%, but we're using bags that are 4 times heavier, doesn't that have an increased impact on the environment? And do you think that's why we're seeing more plastic weight?
You know, I am not 100% sure. I feel like you are in the right direction, so I feel you should keep tugging on that little piece of string.
Are there any other questions? Ranking member?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the goal of this bill is to reduce plastic waste. How do you justify continuing a policy that increased total plastic tonnage going to landfills?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. The goal of this bill is to reduce plastic waste. How do you justify continuing a policy that increased total plastic tonnage?
You know, my brain cells are not braining right now, so I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah. I'll ask one more then. If future data again shows increased plastic usage, at what point would you reconsider the current policy? What would it take?
To take plastic bags out of the picture in a whole, I think they either need to be extremely taxed or just out. Just take them away. I need them.
Thank you so much, Haley.
Finally, we will recognize Haley O'Hara, who is a librarian and marine biologist teacher and is testifying against the bill. Haley, will you please come up and testify? Please state your name and who you represent for the record.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm actually going by Evelyn Hugo these days. I'm a librarian and I'm also a teacher of marine biology in the 22nd district. Thank you guys so much for letting me testify today. I recently got back from Oxford. That's where the accent's from, but I'm here today speaking in opposition of SB 9001. This bill uses a Washington State University study as the foundation of its conclusion to revoke Washington's plastic state bag ban. Washington State University's research reveals that while the use of plastic bags did fall by a considerable amount, the overall use of plastic did increase in Washington. I believe that the decision to revoke the plastic bag ban is a misunderstanding of the Washington State University's study. Excuse me. It is the poor execution of the plastic bag ban that led to its failure to reduce the use of plastic, not necessarily the entire content of the bill itself. In fact, the decrease in single-use plastic bag is proof that this ban is actually on the right track. As a librarian, I am at the very heart of our community. And I've watched my neighbors and community members deal with the confusion of the ban. It is unclear that the current thicker bags are more recyclable and are designed to be reusable. Many of my community members still treat them as single-use bags, and they contribute to litter and pollution and are the main contributor to this rise in plastic. This confusion also stops my community from bringing their own reusable fabric bags to stores when shopping and have caused local businesses to decrease their use of paper bags. As WSU reported, the plastic bag ban is doing its job in reducing single-use plastic. And actually quoting the study itself, the director says, a policy approach that incentivizes bringing your own reusable bag through educational campaigns is critical to encourage sustainable actions by consumers and retailers. The study also says encouraging reuse of these bags to minimize total bags purchased is critical. What we need right now is not to put more burden on our small businesses and to reevaluate the blue-green line. What we need is education and communication. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes, Senator Tanner.
Thank you for your testimony today. You were quoting the WSU study. Did you happen to see what Department of Commerce and Ecology wrote as like the cover sheet for their evaluation of that study?
No, sir, I did not.
Well, I'm just out of curiosity, how would you feel about if we tried to push a total prohibition of plastic bags rather than flip-flopping about thicker bags or thinner bags? How do you think that would go?
Yes, as someone who studied both marine biology and is a librarian in the community, what we want more than anything is just to reduce the plastic in our area.
Yep. So just to quote Department of Commerce and Ecology, they actually, in their evaluation of that WSU study, we're still open to a full prohibition on plastic bags. So just throwing that out there, wanted to see if you had any feedback on that idea, but yeah, thank you for your testimony today.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, the public hearing for Senate Bill 9001 is now closed. We will now move into a short break for caucus, which will be about 3 to 5 minutes. We're going to start executive session if everyone can get settled back down.
Madam Chair, I move that the proposed substitute House or Senate, sorry, wrong thing. Madam Chair, I move that Senate Bill 9001 be reported out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
It has been moved and seconded that Senate Bill 9001 be reported out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Are there any amendments? Senator Godolphin.
Yes, I move the adoption of Amendment 001, please.
Amendment 001 has been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Senator Godolphin.
Yes, so this amendment would affect the bill in its entirety because rather than applying this bill to all retail stores, this would only then apply, the contents of 9001 would only apply to retailers that are classified as by RCW as small businesses and carbon net zero businesses. My amendment has a purpose to reduce environmental damage by limiting the bill to only its smallest contributors of plastic damage or plastic bag waste and damage. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Senator Cole.
Madam Chair, the amendment references RCW 1985.050, and that does not appear to exist as an RCW. It's 19.85. So while I understand small businesses defined elsewhere in the RCW statute as 19.85, without clearly incorporating a valid definition of small businesses, is there not a high risk that this exemption will be applied inconsistently or prove difficult to enforce in practice? In my opinion, until we get the correct RCW into the amendment, I do not think we can pass this bill.
This appears to be a mistype. Do the committee staff have any comments on this?
No.
In that case, we will continue to move forward, and if this bill gets passed, it will be amended before moving to the floor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions at this time for Amendment 001? Senator Skopnik.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If large retailers account for the majority of transactions statewide, how does excluding them meaningfully reduce total plastic usage?
Senator Godolphin.
Yes, we will just be bringing plastic usage down to only small businesses. We're trying to reduce contribution of plastic bag waste just overall.
Sort of to also answer, we want to ensure that we're seeing the long-term impacts of the law as it was only recently enacted. So we also want that long-term time impact. Senator Cole.
I mean, just to clarify, we would amend this on the floor, correct? We would not pass this amendment because if it does not get amended on the floor, there would be massive litigation problems if this bill gets enacted into law. So again, I just wanted to clarify that we are not going to pass this amendment now because if it does not amend on the floor.
I do believe it is a just typing error. I think it is 19.95, and I believe that we can continue as such, and we can pass it. No, we cannot pass it at this time. With that, we will move on. Are there any other amendments that will be are there any other amendments at this time? Senator Cole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, we want amendment, I believe it is 002.
Amendment 002 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just a
Senator
brief
Cole.
synopsis. It's just it's another study by Washington State University and our ecology department. By December 31st, 2029, we want to evaluate the environmental impacts of allowing thinner plastic bags, because as we see, when we made them thicker, it allowed there to be more plastic put out there. So we want to reverse it and have a study because we want to base this on science and keep it at the science.
Are there any other questions? Yes, Senator Mandavili.
I would like to re-emphasize that there is no valid scientific claim to this study, as their data, as stated by them, was not appropriate for this study and what they published. And so is there any other study or informational database that you can use to corroborate the claim that more plastic waste has been produced by the thicker plastic bags?
Senator Cole.
As our prime sponsor brought up, they are 6 to 8 times thicker. So you'd have to reuse them. And I think he said, was it like 10 times? They reuse 3 times each. So you can tell by the math that they're not getting reused to the level where it would be environmentally friendly to use these reusable bags. So that study is another study that backs this up. They're not getting reused to the amount. So I think that is another study. Thank you.
Senator Mandavelli.
Sorry, you just said what, like that study, but you just said do the math. So is there a study or are you just telling me to do the math?
Senator Cole.
Wasn't trying to be rude. I was saying there's a study that states you'd have to reuse it 10 times. And that's a separate study. So we have 2 studies now. There's another study that says you have to use it back 10 times, and people are only using it around 3 times. So it falls short of being environmentally friendly.
Okay, are there any other comments at this time? Senator Hill?
I do have a couple other studies I can send you the link to. There was a Stanford study as well on different types of bags and how many times you have to use them for them to counteract the carbon footprint for their production. So I can send those your way.
Are there any other questions at this time? The clerk will call roll.
Senator Mallard,
Nay.
Senator Kelly,
Nay.
Senator Cole,
Yes.
Senator Sputnik,
Yes.
Senator Godolphin.
No.
Could you repeat that, please?
No.
Senator Godolphin says no. Senator Hill.
Yes.
Senator Hill says yes. Senator Mendavali.
No.
Senator Tanner.
Senator Tanner votes no.
Senator Tolbert. That is 3 ayes and 5 nays.
The amendment is not adopted. Are there any other amendments that at this time? Any other amendments?
Yes.
Ranking Member Skopnik.
I move adoption of amendment 004, please. So this amendment prevents any future or incremental increases without direct legislative oversight. Washingtonians deserve predictability. If we are going to increase costs on families, that decision needs to be made in full view of the public, not automatically or administratively.
Thank you. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, the clerk will do roll call.
Senator Mallard.
Nay.
Senator Kelly.
Nay.
Senator Sputnik.
Yes.
Senator Cole.
Yes as well.
Senator Godolphin.
No.
Senator Hill.
Yes.
Senator Mendavali.
Yes.
Senator Tanner.
Senator Tanner votes no.
Senator Tolbert. With 4 yeas and 4 nays.
The amendment is not adopted. At this time, are there any more amendments? Sorry. Senator Tanner.
I move for the adoption of amendment 005.
Amendment 005 has been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Senator Tanner.
Yeah, just to briefly summarize, this is an amendment that adjusts the pass-through charge for the bags so that instead of being lowered to 8 cents, that is lowered to 11 cents. That is based on the recommendations shown in the study. 8 cents just is not accurate to the actual cost of producing the bags. 11 cents is a little bit closer. Their range that they cited was, I believe, 10 to 48 cents.
Senator Cole.
Can we clarify which study we are talking about?
Why, that would be the WSU one.
Senator Cole.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. On top of that, though, I do agree, and I think everyone in this committee agrees, there's strong initial evidence that the initial bag fee does reduce plastic bag usage. But I have not seen any credible research showing that raising an existing fee, for example, from 8 to 11 cents, causes a measurable reduction in bags used. I was wondering if you guys have any data that does show studies that can prove that raising the fee from, let's say, 5 cents makes a measurable impact.
Senator Kelly.
I mean, just kind of to touch on this, the research that we saw in both the study from the Department of Ecology as well as a few other studies that we researched saw that raising a price like that will add a motivation to make the choice for a reusable bag as in a cotton tote or any other options like that, which is why we feel that this fee is a good idea.
Senator Cole.
I haven't seen a specific study, but I'll take your word on that. But I guess my follow-up question on that would be, is this not a regressive tax on people, on lower income families who can't really afford a lot of times to pay these extra fees on these bags? We had a very emotional concerned citizen come today and tell his story about how it affected him. And I'm sure there's plenty of families like that throughout Washington. So I'm wondering, what do we do? Like, how is this a fair tax on them?
Vice Chair Kelly.
I believe based on the law that started this year in 2026 on January 1st, the fee was actually 12 cents. And so going down to 11 cents is not a regressive tax because it's actually making it more manageable.
Are there any other comments at this time? At this time, the clerk will call roll.
Senator Mallard,
Nay.
Senator Kelly,
Yay.
Senator Sputnik,
No.
Senator Cole,
I am also a no.
Senator Godolphin,
Yay.
Senator Hill,
Nay.
Senator Mandavalli,
Yay.
Senator Tanner,
Yay.
Senator Tolbert. That is 4 nays and 4 ayes.
The amendment is not adopted.
I move that the adopted amendments be incorporated into substitute Senate Bill 9001 and that the substitute Senate Bill 9001 be reported out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
It has been moved and seconded that substitute Senate Bill 9001 be reported out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Is there discussion? The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Mallard,
No.
Senator Kelly,
No.
Senator Sputnik,
Yes.
Senator Cole,
I am a yes, and I would urge my colleagues, if they disagree, we still can go on the floor. So I would urge you guys to vote yes.
Senator Godolphin,
No.
Senator Hill,
Yes.
Senator Mandavalli,
No.
Senator Tanner,
No.
Senator Tolbert. That is 5 nays and 3 ayes.
By your vote, substitute Senate Bill 9001 does not pass out of committee.
Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of y'all for killing a bill. Okay, if you were a part of this committee, please come up here and take a photo. If not, just sit tight for a minute.
Here you are.